Pam was in kindergarten when someone gave Don a goose, saying they made great watchdogs. And they certainly did. Anybody come down the driveway and he would start squawking. Well, he was in the back enclosed patio, and Hassan had his room and his bath out there. And every time this goose would stand at the back door, screen door, and squawk, and every time it squawked, it went off the other end. Well, Hassan was furious with this thing because he would go out there and clean it up, and he'd say, it's messy, messy. So I didn't know it was brought as a pet. I thought it was brought as food. So I put up with it for a couple of weeks. Well, you can't have an unhappy houseboy, as far as I'm concerned. So I told him one day, I said, Hassan, if that goose bothers you, go wring its neck and we'll have it for dinner. So the girls had nicknamed him, I had named him George. So that day he went out and he wrung its neck and plucked all the feathers and everything. Well, it turned out it was rather small, minus this big neck and legs and feet and everything. And Pam and Julie and Richard came to the house after school, and they came in and they go to the back door, and Pam says, where's George? And I pointed to the cupboard, and there laid this carcass that I was going to cook for dinner. She said, that's George? I said, yeah. Well, why did you do that? I said, because we're going to have him for dinner. So that night when Don came home, I had this lovely little goose. And he said, but you weren't supposed to kill it. I said, well, you didn't tell me that. So when we sat down to dinner, Kathy said, Daddy, give me a piece of George. And then one of the other girls said, I'll have a piece of George, Dad. And I'll have another piece of George. Well, by this time, Don is sitting there, and he's toying with his food. He can't eat the meat. And we all thought it was pretty good. It was a change, certainly, from what we're used to. So after the meal and the girls went to bed, he said, we're never going to give a name to any other animal around here because I can't eat them when they've got a name. And he couldn't eat George.